The Azshara, actually. We're going to watch the Azshara one, yeah. The Smoking Gun of Evidence and WoW's next step. Let's see what Bellular believes WoW's next step is as we venture out into 10.1 and beyond.
Okay, so patch 10.07 is just out, and that means that we can now dig into one of the most exciting things to do in any WoW patch, which is massive hints for both the near and far future of the game. And no, we don't mean that Avalorn stuff, yeah. We don't mean Black Empire stuff, we don't even mean the South Seas, I'm not talking about pirates, the original and maybe rightful Queen of Azeroth will be making a return. It will be absolutely glorious, and it's hardly a surprise, because the last time we saw her, she hopped through a big void portal, saying that she was fed up with dealing with silly little intermediates like we were dealing with, and that she was going to go and do the big stuff.
Interesting.
I suppose she's done it then.
The Queen of Hentai. Yeah. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't go looking for it.
Maybe she'll come back. Of course, after our sponsor. Squarespace.com/Bellular Gaming, the place to go to rapidly establish yourself on the web. Build your site for free today and then send it live with code Bellular Gaming for 10% off your first purchase. Now, Squarespace are built to help everybody, musicians, designers, artists, coders, restaurants, anyone. And it's all built to get you online and help you succeed. They ran two of our sites, of course, most recently the one for the game studio, and their easy-to-use site builder and award-winning templates really did make the whole process super easy to do. And it's like that regardless of skill level.
He does have a nice website, I'm not going to lie. If you haven't visited it before for his games, it's pretty good.
Succeed in an all-in-one platform, which is important because not everyone wants to faff around with plugins and other services and all those annoying fiddly things. With Squarespace, it just works. But with support for the fancy things like code injection and custom CSS, if you want those, so you can go as advanced as you want, or you can stick with their fantastic pre-made award-winning templates where you can easily change out content or add or remove blocks to your liking with their easy-to-use editor.
Samiccus.com.
So whether you are a small business, an artist who just wants a great portfolio to show off their work, or you just want to build a personal site.
It's going to be a build a website mechanic.
Covered. So put your best foot forward online.
There'll be an add-on
for building
it,
your site for free at squarespace.com/Bellular Gaming and use that code to send it live with 10% off. A big thanks to them, and let's go. So yes, I am talking about Azshara. Let's see. Her radiance, flower of life, glory of our people, light of the moon, queen born of stars, vision of perfection. All of those are actually real titles, by the way. Well, in the lore, that is. And that's only a handful of them. Yeah, it's one of those silly situations. Now, if you've been on the Forbidden Reach, then you've probably realized that there's a whole bunch of Naga. Now, it makes sense that they are raiding an ancient island that just opened, and they're a cool enemy to see.
They do like to raid islands, it's true.
Don't just do things for the sake of it. Now, their appearance raises a question. How are the Naga, as a people, getting on without their beloved queen? This in-game book actually answers that.
Those images he's showing are
it even goes a bit further too. A Song of the Depths is a, quote, chilling missive written from the deep. It turns out the Naga have not stopped simping for their queen since she left. And unlike most who act like that, they've actually...
The Naga really are the ultimate simps. They really are. I mean, they have just followed Azshara to after defeat after defeat. Their entire world has been destroyed. She has disappeared, and they are still simping. They are the ultimate simps. They are the Simpaga. That's what we should call them from now on.
No, not feet pics. That wouldn't even make sense, I suppose. Instead,
okay, it's getting to a point now where I see where Bellular is going with this video. And yeah, onlyfins.com. Okay.
They've actually somehow got a communication from her.
Rise! Rise!
Oh, shit.
Our queen calls to us from beyond the umbral veil. She has transcended the circle of stars and basks in her eternal grandeur. The time we have long awaited is nigh. Even now, the Harbinger gathers the children of the first flesh to reclaim what was lost. They must remember their vows and serve those to whom they owe fealty.
Right, what does that mean? What's an umbral veil? So, let's go. bust out your dictionaries, because it is time for a bit of Void lore. Okay.
Whip out your dictionary.
Azshara somehow sent them a message from beyond the Veil, telling the Naga their queen's unwilling hiatus was actually a massive win and that she's going to be back soon.
Did Siri
She
read
has transcended the circle, which, by the way, was the area that we defeated her in, the place that Il'gynoth said we should drown ourselves to find N'Zoth, which actually did really happen. Then, what the hell is the Umbral Veil? Well, Umbral comes from Umbra, meaning hard shadow that has no light.
Hard shadow.
A veil of shadow. Veil, then,
Hard shadow,
is
okay.
something that conceals or obscures. To cross a veil is to get to the other side, to learn an unknown truth, that kind of thing. Of course, in WoW, a veil usually is a barrier between realms. The launch cinematic for Shadowlands is called Beyond the Veil, and Veil Strider is the Shadowlands meta achievement title. So you get the drift.
Yeah.
And clearly, she has been up to a hell of a lot since we last saw her, but the real question is, to what end? Well, she'd always wanted one thing, to be the Queen of Azeroth. Let's begin then with her character.
True.
Since her introduction into the game's canon, she has been painted as an egotistical narcissist. One, of course, beautiful enough to bring her attendants to tears. She was born as the sole heir to the monarchy that existed within the night.
I wish we could get like a time,
her eyes are
like some kind of Caverns of Time or time walking version of this. Right? This just looks beautiful. Before the whole entire city was destroyed, it would be nice to see this.
Her eyes are golden, just like Illidan's actually, which does sort of speak to fate. It speaks to a destiny of greatness. And as the most beloved monarch in Night Elf history, she was also obsessed with magical power, specifically the Well of Eternity. And she even channeled its energies to keep herself young and beautiful. Now, tapping into a dubious power source for eternal youth and beauty, I mean, that is one of the most archetypical stories for a villain.
Yeah.
And so we know a lot about her from just that.
Like it.
She spared little love for the lowborn. She preferred to just keep to her own castle, but funny enough, just about everybody loved her all the same.
They all are
so much
simps,
so
yeah.
that her subjects built a city on the shore of the Well of Eternity in her honor, and they called it Zin Ashari, which translates to Ashara's glory. Basically,
I would love to see it. Like I said, I wish we could have like a time walking or something, some way to go back and see it.
The point here
Before it
is
was
that
flooded
she
and
really
destroyed.
had all the signs of being very evil, but masked in a sort of benevolent, all-powerful way. If you want to take a narcissist then and complete their character arc, what do? Well, one of the strongest ways to do it is for them to actually achieve all of their goals. What happens next? What happens when she is ultimately powerful? When faced with a hard choice, will she do what's right for her? Will she do what's right for her subjects? There's really quite a lot of pretty cool ways that Blizzard could take a story like this, especially when you take a look at her ancient rivalry with Tyrande. Also, I think the entertainment value of her coming back and being actually peak, narcissistic, all-powerful queen. I mean, imagine the voice lines we get, the way that she would act in WoW's constantly upgraded cutscenes that we're now getting.
She was
the
cool
crazy
in her
cinematics,
whole
right? I mean,
series.
the cackling, the unhinged joy. But here's the kicker. There is something else that would make this kind of perfect. This could shake up and fix the meta-narrative of WoW in an interesting way. Now, obviously, the whole cosmic thing is being set up, especially with the whole black-blue cosmic void stuff Sarkareth is doing, the more sort of devourer-looking
no void in the
stuff that we're
Sarkareth
even
fight, just
seeing
hints,
within,
just subtle hints,
well,
that's
just
all.
within that Sarkareth story. Now, to set that story up, obviously, we went all the way to Zereth Mortis, and while patch 9.2 actually was a pretty good patch, Shadowlands itself was generally, not great. It wasn't an Azeroth, it wasn't even in a physical realm. It ended up just leaving quite a bad taste in our collective mouths.
That's right.
So what's the obvious solution to this problem? It's certainly not for you and me to go to Zereth Umbra and do the Shadowlands again, but this time it's purple. No, what you do is you have the Void come to us. And what if, instead of us going to Zereth Umbra,
it was rejuvenating,
a whole bunch of voidy first one stuff, what if Ashara's already been there, done that, plundered it for its secrets? then she could bring all that knowledge, all that MacGuffin-y box-ticking bullshit, right to our doorstep. And we could skip over that whole thing. Maybe we would even have a brief excursion like we did with Argus in Legion to the Realm of Void.
Maybe.
But we'd actually be able to see the impact that it has on Azeroth when she comes back to claim what is
Welcome back,
hers.
lords.
The story could be sped up a bit
was day.
by taking a really smart shortcut, right? Azshara doing the work and the investigation for us so that, we kind of see some of it through her eyes, we care about it, and we don't have to spend a whole expansion exploring it ourselves, right? And that leaves the focus squarely on Azerothian matters, which typically is what goes down best with the players.
Yeah, definitely goes down better with us.
But the jailer just comes to Azeroth, and we have one patch that's actually set.
Keep it relevant to Azeroth. We don't want any more weird second realm break, going through this weird shadowy shit again. Yeah, bring it to Azeroth and we can do better.
In the Shadowlands.
Yeah, tentacles
right?
in the middle of the field. Look at that, that's perfect.
Bizarre Wrath of the Lich King 2 invasion thing, rather than what Shadowlands ended up feeling like.
Agreed.
Anyway,
this
that's
would be
just
better.
A thought, but there's actually a lot more to go through from this Naga book.
While they toil in the deep places.
Before he gets into this, there's more of an attachment to protecting lands that you recognize, right? Like if the Void is invading Elwyn Forest, I feel more obligated and I feel a stronger connection to protecting Elwyn Forest than I do to, say, the Void invading Bastion, right? I can give to, Bastion. I spent a little bit of time there, but I'm not emotionally attached to Bastion. I haven't created, lifelong memories in Bastion. I don't give a shit, honestly, about Bastion. But do I care about Elwyn Forest? Hell yeah. Would I want to protect it? Hell yeah. I need to protect, Lion's Pride Inn for the Moonguard orgies and stuff. How else am I going to spend my Saturday nights if that place is gone? Right? So I do feel a stronger connection if the invasions and stuff are happening in areas that I recognize and have, some good old nostalgic attachment to.
We will journey
it's home,
to the
exactly.
shores of Dragonlance, to the Blessed Isle, where the Worldbreaker first embraced the Whispers. As one storm recedes, another rises. The torches have been lit. The
torches have been lit.
It will strike as a dagger into the heart of his.
The lit torches.
Then, the Harbinger,
you
children of the First Flesh, vows, deep places. What does all this mean? Could all seem a bit weird. Now, since this is the prelude to patch 10.1, the Harbinger could very well be a Ridicron. The children could be the Jaredine because, well, they are descended from original Azeroth Earth Giants. They also struck a deal with the Ridicron in the past, which would explain the whole thing about
What's up, Cam?
fealty. The deep places could be Zaralek Cavern, which is where we're going. So, job done, moving on.
A lot of torches, candles in the Void Pool in the raid. I thought about that too, Day. You're right.
Reads.
Those candles might be the torches.
The children of the First Flesh,
lit.
That could be the dwarves of Khaz Algar, since they also do toil in deep places that we are unaware of. And the phrasing of the book suggests that the deep places aren't actually the Zaralek Cavern. The Naga say the deep places first, and then they specify shores of Dragonlands.
And the shore is not very deep.
I don't think this is that tinfoil hat, but perhaps a more grammatically correct way to write and speak about this would be to specify the Dragonlands first, because in the unwritten rules of the English language, specifying something new for a second time implies the specification doesn't apply to the first thing.
Right.
Basically, it's like this. If I said, while Matt's going to a lake, I'm going to a mountain in Switzerland. Now, with that sentence, you would not assume that Matt is going to Switzerland. I just said he's going to a lake.
Yeah.
And then that I was going to Switzerland.
Right.
With just the way that the English language is parsed, what Blizzard said means that the deep place is not necessarily the
English
Zaralek
he's talking
Cavern.
about. He's talking about
and
American.
You could say that's reading a bit too far into it.
Talking about American.
But
Maybe.
you've got to remember that every word here is carefully selected, like with those Old God Whispers, which Steve Denuser said they intentionally write to be sort of specific yet a bit open in a way that includes quite a bit of misdirection. Anyway, because the Khaz Algar dwarves got the sort of gift/curse of flesh from the old gods, it technically applies that they could be children of the First Flesh and owe fealty to the Old Gods. I mean, hell, the children of the First Flesh could even be the Tauren, if we look at their myth in the Eyes of the Earth Mother story, right? The Shu-Hello, as they're called, in the book. Though there isn't really a harbinger there. Anyway, it's just a thought. There could be a lot more to that statement, but let's move on. The storm receded over the reach, so the new storm of the Naga and everything else arises. That's pretty easy.
Okay.
Right. Oathstones, torches, lanterns, 5 keys. There's a whole bunch of 5s here. We should really learn numerology at this stage to do these speculation videos, make them even more.
Yeah, I do think the torches are, I think those are the torches.
Probably the
I agree with that.
The secrets, Deathwing, buried. That's likely Shadowflame, the Drakthir experimentation. Essentially all stuff that is going to feel pretty bad and endanger the Drakthir and the dragons. Pretty clear cut for a lore book, and very obviously setting stuff up for patch 10.1.
Right.
The Harbinger speaks of a primal power that seeks the end of order. Such rage can be bent to serve our ends. A hunger lost to the ages will be reclaimed. A dark heart left broken awaits the taking.
Now this is a bit more Ridicron-y, a primal power. Again, at word selection here, a primal power, the end of order.
Oh, the
Shadowflame stuff seems
primal
quite
power,
primal
that makes
to
sense.
me. The rage, I think that's quite obviously the silent, seething anger of a Ridicron, where he's clearly quite pissed.
Sure.
Or it could be another form of Harbinger, of course, but at least that's what I think it is for this one.
I would go with the Ridicron on this too.
Hunger then. Well, a hunger that's lost to time, that's almost certainly Galakrond. Right? Reading that one seriously.
Yeah.
A Ridicron.
We haven't seen him yet in this expansion. I feel like we're going to.
What made
in one form or another
into what he was, and maybe he'll try to use that for power.
Could be some kind of time walking event or something. Not time walking event, but time travel event. I definitely think we're gonna see him.
The Dark Heart bit is a bit more open, though.
He's too badass not to show up. He's a legendary dragon, man.
And it could be about somebody who is emotionally scarred, and perhaps could be corrupted or convinced. Maybe like Sarkareth or someone else. But, as Wowhead points out, heart is a recurring theme in Old God Whispers, including the Il'gynoth one, about it being a crater that has been filled.
Well, Cam?
Her heart is a crater and we have filled it, that's the line. Now, if that crater was filled, is it now broken? I don't know, because we killed N'Zoth. Is it about the sword? We don't exactly know at this stage. All that we do know is that it's dark. So if this is Azeroth's heart, then it's kind of implying that she's not in a particularly good shape at the minute, right? She might be hurt. And maybe she's just there for the taking, implying that it is perhaps just a matter of getting to her. That being said, if you were to extrapolate from a lot of that first onesie stuff, all the, the fate, the cosmic force sort of thing, it could be that, balance between dark and light is the ultimately good thing, right? Balance in all 6 of these various different forces instead of anything ruling the roost. So maybe if, Yrel and a whole big army of light people end up trying to invade us, there's a whole light-bound army out there that's just been set up that it could arrive at any minute, then maybe a little bit more void juice pumping around Azeroth would be a good thing.
Oh, throbbing void juice. That's good.
Next quote.
When these things come to
we're going to see more about that whole thing. Yrel is fucking insane, so I'm sure we're going to see her and her crazy zealots show up at some point, and then the void fighting. That's going to happen. We'll see what that means.
The Harbinger will fulfill the final prophecy and complete the awakening. Only then shall our queen return to reign over sea and sky and earth. We must make ready. Rise, rise. Soon all that was hidden will be revealed.
Well, that one seems a bit final. Okay. What prophecy? That's the question. Is it a prophecy that we know? Is it an old god prophecy about, the hour of her third death ushering in their coming? If you remember that line from a little bit ago from the old gods. The she has died a few times, right? But there are many she's who have sort of had deaths, be they literal or metaphorical. So that would actually apply to Azshara, Sylvanas, Jaina, Illyria as well. in and around the time that line about the deaths came out, there was an Illyria voice line where she described stuff as being like a death. So that's also particularly
when she
sus.
accepted the shadow,
but at any
yeah,
rate
she accepted the void.
If the Harbinger is a Ridicron, then he's probably going to do something, and big things will go down at the end of this expansion, which, to be honest, is not exactly a large surprise.
No.
An Azeroth awakening that is literal, though, that just does not seem right to me. I don't think that's going to happen, so I think this is going to be a far more...
Other side of Azeroth, what is their expansion?
Thing.
Pirate expansion.
I mean, yeah, look, I do want to say world revamp. You know, I do want to say it's happening.
I would love it.
Maybe it isn't.
Probably
if our Harbinger isn't a Ridicron, though, then this sort of stuff may be way further down the line. Okay, let's go to the very last bit of this book. After all this, Queen Azshara will come to reign over all as it should be and as it was once before. So, no matter what's going to happen, I think part of the point is that Azshara is going to have a lot of power, and she's maybe just going to try to swoop in, I don't know, get the coup de grace on us or something like that, right?
Maybe.
Azshara will do some big John Madden plan now that she has got all of the powerful void juice or whatever the hell she's got that she could have possibly wanted.
Throbbing void juice.
And I think that'll be kind of cool. I mean, really, this whole thing turned Matt into an outright big Azshara simp, so that's happening, I suppose. And I think it can't help but come to the conclusion that there is a more purple and tentacled Azshara out there, that she is going to
all
come
the
back,
simp juice,
that she's going to try to take over some form of awakened or awakening
she knows what she's doing.
Azeroth.
And
that if you believe her, it's a good
Mommy.
thing. So maybe we should all just prepare for her arrival and practice how to bow, kneel, serve wine, do our curtsies, and all of those things. Honestly, then, we're getting to the point where this is either speculation about insane stuff that's not revealed yet, or speculation about this expansion that is loosely doubling down on themes and events that we have already kind of expected. Stuff like Iridicron, the links to Galakrond, Deathwings, various horrible secrets.
Right.
The real takeaway, though, is that Azshara is going to return probably sooner rather than later, and that she will have been through some serious void shit. And these hints, you know, they're real. They do actually matter. As an example, the Dragon Isles, they were first mentioned in World of Warcraft in a canonical in-game fashion in Battle for Azeroth, right? 2 expansions later, what do we get?
I forgot about that.
We got the Dragon Isles.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not saying we have to follow the same rule here, but maybe you could say, you know, if
I do not think the next expansion is the Void expansion. I think there's going to be a Void build-up for a while here. So
2 expansions time, Azshara comes back, you know, having dominated a bunch
we're still
of
probably getting pirates in the next one.
I would
first.
not at all be surprised. And it is also worth noting that there are characters like Medivh who are just out there. Xalatath is also a void-aligned character who is just out there doing her own thing in the cosmos. She's obviously a void-aligned character. Obviously, you'll, well, maybe not obviously. You should watch it, though. Yep. Our video on the Ethereals also deals with a little bit of a threat that I think we'll be running into. So if you found this lore interesting, absolutely check out the Ethereal video next.
Very cool.
It'll be linked in the box thingy that will appear, or maybe is beside my face right now. Who knows? Videos are weird. Okay, take care. I'll see you next time.
There it is. There it is. A lot of good speculation. He went off the deep end on a couple of things there, but yeah, we do know, at the least, Azshara is returning with all of her tentacly goodness.